The building blocks of this scheme are set up as two phases, implementation and inhabitation, used to offer a position of agency through built form. The phase of implementation was spent in my spring break, working with the people. I documented and had help. We organized the community to look at multiple scales, the way in which the design could evolve, listening to their concerns and claims. The scheme was reimagined, working through policy and ownership based on an exchange between the people and the state. Provision of land, economic opportunity and economic feasibility, social structures and construction strategies. On ground, a schedule of teaching and learning helped explain the approach and build a collective. I explored villages around the site where I put forward training sessions, in which my role was to generate a bond of trust with the people, where we worked together. We learnt, built and spent time together to understand each other. My part as mediator was explaining existing potentials. Food security, market connectivity, healthcare and education was portrayed through advantages of compression, where a collective could carry the weight of what the state should really be providing. Together we taught each other. The basic method of breaking bricks at home became a family process, as the kids and I together made the mix, while the women shaped the bricks and the men did the heavy lifting. Environmental comforts, changes in built form and their advantages took hours of discussions to adapt for a cluster of 12 families, allowing me to engage and understand the qualities of the home that are vital to their daily lives. These reworkings fed back into the entire settlement to bring forward what is shown today. Decisions were made and the process of building the prototype began. The ground was measured, the layout was marked, the trench was dug, foundation was filled, then compacted, and the bricks began to be laid. Throughout the process, improvisation was at the forefront. Parallel lines were made with spare sticks, ropes were used to level, and lime powder was used to mark. Making began to offer this moment of refuge as families came together to build their home and bring with it a sense of belonging. Built form, environmental comfort, civic empowerment, and mutual cohesion played the role of mediation as the collective began their playful journey, with me just a bystander in the end. This pilot settlement extends into a larger tapestry called the Inbetween, where each speak to one another through road networks, market exchanges, and income generation. Each settlement holds on to their independent identity as they develop a gradient of dependencies between one another. And so, as work and life coexist without a segregation between reproductive and productive, the domestic and the social are integrated within the larger fabric of the settlement, providing pockets of industry in the rural. The gradients of production, water, wind and shade merge to create family bonds, social and environmental comforts, and provide women with spaces for refuge beyond the walls of the home. The home becomes inclusive of the productive realm, allowing women to participate in public activities and not secluded to reproductive rituals, as often the case in urban and rural settings in Pakistan. Today, communities are no longer based on territory, but instead economic independence. Unlike the urban condition that visibly divides reproductive and productive forms of labor, the in-between attempts to blur this boundary of working and living by introducing sustainable forms of industry within the countryside. The way of life in the in-between will counter the overconsumption of the city and lack of resource in the countryside to create a condition in which domestic rituals are intertwined with consumption of resource. It will counter the existing notions of two densities within the landscape, urban and rural, with a settlement that will be the foundation of a network of patterns of association offering forms of life that are based on economic independence.